Today on NewsWatch, Ted Cruz announces his running mate before getting the Republican nomination to run for president. See why he made the move. Plus, former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell's corruption case goes to the Supreme Court, but this is now bigger than him. See how this case could affect the future of politics. Plus,
what would you do if your wife was captured 2 years ago with your baby kids? What would you do, really? I think you would move heaven and earth to go save them. And that's what we need to do.
Rescuing the Yazidis will show you who is helping to bring this group of people facing persecution from Islamic terrorists. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz has a new running mate, and Donald Trump is asking why. Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are trying to hammer the final nails to shut down their opponents' campaigns in the upcoming primaries in Indiana. Dale Hurd has the story.
My friend and the next Vice President of the United States, Carly Fiorina.
It's an unusual move for a presidential candidate to pick a vice presidential running mate before winning his party's nomination. Even more unusual when his path to the nomination is blocked. But trailing Donald Trump, Ted Cruz went ahead and announced his choice.
I am prepared to stand by his side and give this everything I have.
Carly Fiorina tussled with Trump early in the primary season for comments he made about her face, and the GOP frontrunner dismissed this latest move.
A new relationship has started. Cruz and Carly. Cruz can't win. What's he doing picking vice presidents?
Trump had other things to talk about as well. He gave a major foreign policy speech in Washington and said America's allies would have to start paying for their own defense. He also railed on the Bush and Obama administrations for not stopping the persecution of Christians in the Middle East.
We have done nothing to help the Christians, nothing. And we should always be ashamed for that lack of action.
Trump went from there to Indiana, where he got the endorsement of legendary Indiana Hoosiers basketball coach Bobby Knight ahead of Tuesday's primary.
If we win Indiana, it's over. I'm not playing games with Indiana.
After Indiana votes, Hillary Clinton is hoping it's all over for Bernie Sanders. Delegate math is not with Sanders, who rallied thousands of screaming fans at Indiana University hours after he announced the layoffs of hundreds of campaign staffers.
Next Tuesday, let us have the highest voter turnout in Indiana history.
Ted Cruz is 400 delegates behind Trump, and while he expects to win Indiana, if he doesn't, analysts say it's all over. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
A government report says AmeriCorps volunteers broke the law by escorting young pregnant women to abortion clinics. The Office of the Inspector General says 6 members of AmeriCorps transported the women to have abortions. Some members of Congress are calling for an investigation.
I support community health centers, have always supported them, believe they give very good services. This just hasn't broken the law. This has broken the trust of the American people. I hope this is limited. However, I do believe this needs to have more investigation. It needs to have more oversight, and perhaps the oversight needs to be outside of the government, where we really have full and transparent oversight of these clinics to be sure that this is not happening.
Congressman Tom Cole is calling on the government to immediately terminate the program's federal funds. Can members of the military display Bible verses in the workplace? That is the question before the military's highest court. The case revolves around Marine Lance Corporal Monifa Sterling. She was demoted, court-martialed, and dishonorably discharged after refusing to remove a Bible verse she posted at her desk back in 2013. Sterling's attorney appealed on Wednesday, arguing it was a violation of her religious freedom. Her legal team describes this as a landmark case that could set a precedent for military men and women for decades.
This case is for the first time we're going to apply the Religious Freedoms Restoration Act, which will make clear that everybody who serves us with a uniform, they don't lose their religious freedoms. They still have religious freedom protection, which is something that Congress and the people of this country wanted to make sure was never forfeited.
The bottom line is that service members shouldn't be punished for expressing their faith. We ask service members to do some of the hardest things in the world, and we shouldn't ask them to leave their faith behind, and we shouldn't punish them for expressing their faith in the workplace.
The scripture posted on Sterling's computer and desk was from Isaiah chapter 54, which reads, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." The court is expected to release its opinion in the next few months. Tennessee's governor has signed a bill into law that allows counselors to run their practices in line with their principles and beliefs. Dozens of counselors voiced concern 2 years ago when the American Counseling Association changed its code of ethics. The code states that counselors cannot turn away clients based on their personal beliefs and behaviors. But the bill sponsor says people should be able to run their practice the way they want to.
Our concern should be for people to get the help they need, not forcing professionals to provide help when they're not best able to do so.
The ACA says the new bill codifies discrimination against the LGBT community, but Johnson says it simply extends the same privileges to counselors who doctors and lawyers already have, the ability to refer a client to another professional. The U.S. Supreme Court is considering the case of a former Virginia governor, Bob McDonnell. Justices seem open to overturning his corruption conviction, which could have implications for elected leaders across America. Jennifer Wishon has the story from inside the courtroom.
It looked like a very good day in the nation's highest court for Bob McDonnell. The former Virginia governor is facing 2 years in prison after being convicted of political corruption. But justices seem poised to overturn his conviction.
Never during any time in my 38 years of public service have I ever done anything that would abuse the powers of my office.
At issue is a federal law that forbids public officials from accepting money in exchange for official acts. The question is, what qualifies as an official act? In court, justices grappled with where to draw the line between corruption, giving away favors in return for gifts, and ordinary public service. Justices on both sides of the ideological divide seemed troubled by the nearly unbridled power federal prosecutors have to go after elected officials who are working to help the constituents who hired them. Justice Stephen Breyer, generally considered a liberal, was the most outspoken, saying the law used to convict McDonnell puts at risk behavior that is common. The government charged McDonnell with giving out favors in return for gifts, but lawyers for the former governor say he never gave anything back after receiving gifts from a businessman. A number of unlikely groups filed friend of the court briefs on McDonnell's behalf, including dozens of former White House attorneys for both Republican and Democratic presidents, including President Obama. Chief Justice Roberts remarked, "I think it's extraordinary that those people agree on anything." It's been a 3-year nightmare for the McDonnell family. Throughout the process, the former governor has relied on his Catholic faith.
I want to give credit to my Lord Jesus for his sustaining me and my wife and my family during these last 39 months that have been very, very difficult.
He and his wife Maureen, who also faces prison time, have tried to maintain some level of normalcy while they await the rulings on their cases. Governor McDonnell even volunteers for Operation Blessing.
Got 2 grandchildren and 2 more on the way, and started a new business. And I've got the most amazing friends in the world, and have felt more love and support in the last 2 years than any time in my life. So I'm a very blessed man.
Along with his Christian faith, McDonnell, an attorney himself, has always expressed faith in the law.
I've given my life to public service in 38 years and have loved every minute of it. And this has obviously been a personal challenge, but I know the justice system will get this right.
The court is expected to issue its ruling in June. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, the Supreme Court.
North Carolina State University faces a lawsuit after requiring Christian students to have a permit before talking about Jesus. The Alliance Defending Freedom filed the lawsuit after university officials stopped an on-campus Christian group from handing out flyers and talking about Jesus without a permit. Meanwhile, other student organizations were able to speak freely without one. ADF attorneys say the policy is unconstitutional and the only permit needed for free speech is the First Amendment. Liberty University will now allow students with concealed carry permits to keep their guns in their dorm rooms. Before the policy change, students were allowed to carry guns anywhere on campus except for residence halls. Students must first get university permission and be at least 21 years old. School officials say the new policy affects few people because few 21-year-old students live in campus dorms. Coming up, what's happening in the Republican race for the White House? We've got a very entertaining explanation of a contested convention, and you don't want to miss it. Donald Trump may have swept Tuesday's primaries, but the race, as you know, is far from over. It is still unclear if he will win enough delegates in the coming primaries to seal the deal. By now, you have heard plenty of talk about a contested convention. If you are wondering just how it will work, CBN's David Brody has the answers. And we want to give you fair warning, prepare to be amused.
All right, here we go. Get ready for a few brain cramps, everybody. Stick with me. I'm going to try to make this as painless as possible. First up, the terms. Contested versus brokered convention. What exactly is a contested convention? Well, first of all, let's get this out of the way first. It's not this. No boxing ring, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be a lot of bad blood. Contested means we go to the convention in Cleveland and nobody has that magic number of 1,237 delegates to win on the first ballot. So if nobody wins on the first vote, well, guess what? We move on to a second vote. And at that point, it becomes a brokered convention. No, not because the Brody File crew ran out of money in Cleveland, not that type of broke. It's brokered because that's where the wheeling and dealing starts to take place. Voting until someone gets to 1,237. Will it be Trump, Cruz, or maybe someone completely different who can bring unity like Speaker of the House Paul Ryan? Heck, how about the Dalai Lama? Let's just hope it's not like the 1924 Democratic Convention in New York. It took 103, that's right, 103 ballots to finally choose a nominee. By the way, that's 102 too many. All right, now let's talk about the delegates. It can be very complicated, more complicated than even the hardest math problem, or even the NFL playoff tie-breaking system. But let's start with this. When the delegates show up in Cleveland, they're going to have to do two things. Obviously, first, they're going to have to go visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's a given. But then, they're going to have to abide by how their state voted. So, for example, let's take Michigan. Trump won 25 delegates. Cruz won 17. So that means 25 delegates must vote for Trump in Cleveland on the first ballot, and 17 have to vote for Cruz. But what if nobody wins on the first ballot? Well, guess what, folks? All bets are off. Most delegates in the states are pretty much free to vote for whoever they want. And then, folks, it becomes a free-for-all. All right, maybe not food flying or like the Taiwanese parliament, but close. The wheeling and dealing starts. Delegates start talking about switching, and who knows, we may even have some rock, paper, scissors, shoot deliberations playing out on the floor. I don't know. This is where Ted Cruz's team has been on their A game, because what they've been doing for the last year is talking to these delegates to vote for Cruz on the second ballot. And they've also actually been finding people to run as delegates that would support Cruz after being obligated to vote for Trump on that first ballot. Meanwhile, the Trump team has been playing catch-up. Anyhow, back to the ballot situation. So look, after a first ballot, then comes a second ballot, hey, maybe a third ballot. We just keep going and going, and even going until someone, Cruz, Trump, Ryan, Justin Bieber, hey, never say never. Whoever gets to 1237, or until the rapture comes. It could be like the game of Monopoly that never ends. Oh yeah, one more thing that's going to make your head literally explode. Remember when we said the delegates pretty much have to vote for how their state voted? Right, well, that's true, except there are going to be about 200 delegates that actually arrive in Cleveland unbound. That means they can vote for whoever they want. Take Pennsylvania, for example. You see, they have 71 delegates up for grabs. The winner of the state is actually going to win 17 delegates. But what about the other 54? Well, guess what? They're not committed to anyone. They can vote for whomever they like. And that's where it really gets interesting. Why? Well, because the Trump and Cruz campaigns are going to call them up, try to convince them to vote for their guy on the first ballot. Legally, they can offer lots of perks like dinner, maybe a free spa treatment at a Trump luxury hotel. Heck, I don't know, even a free hayride with Ted Cruz. Hey, that's exciting. Actually, this is all true. They can wine and dine them, just no money exchanging hands. That, nope, is a no-no. So think about it. If Trump comes in 50 delegates shy of 1237, you can be sure he's going to be, quote, working the room, trying to make sure those unbound delegates vote for him on the first ballot. Otherwise, I don't know, he may threaten to send them to Mexico. Who knows? And let's just conclude with this. If Trump doesn't get to 1237 on that first ballot, he's probably in trouble. Why? Because not only has Cruz's team found delegates that are actually going to switch to their guy on the second ballot, but most of the time, these delegates are folks that have been around politics for a while. And that hurts Trump, because those type of delegates would probably be less likely to support Trump as the process moves forward. So did you get all that?
Anyone?
Don't worry about it. There's not going to be a test. And at least this won't happen to you.
You're fired. Go.
It's going to be hot in Cleveland.
Up next, they lost their homes and their families to ISIS. Now they're getting help getting them back. Chuck Holton reports from the front lines of the war on terror. Yazidis are an ancient people who live mostly in the Nineveh province of northern Iraq. Their Muslim neighbors have persecuted them for centuries, and ISIS has been committing genocide against them since taking over their homeland. But one Christian group has been ministering to these people just a few kilometers from the ISIS front lines. Chuck Holton brings us the story from the city of Sinjar.
Mount Sinjar made international headlines in 2014 when tens of thousands of Yazidis fled into these hills to escape ISIS, carrying little more than the clothes on their backs. It was midsummer, and hundreds died of thirst and exposure on the trek. Eventually, the world community came together to deliver water and food to those left stranded on the mountain. 2 winters have come and gone, and there are still thousands of Yazidis living in makeshift camps, while down below, Kurdish soldiers have established a perimeter around the city of Sinjar, which was held by ISIS for a year and a half. When they were finally pushed out last November, they left the city an uninhabitable ruin. Most Yazidis won't be able to return to Sinjar for years, if ever. But help is coming from an unlikely place, the country of Burma, also known as Myanmar. These Burmese Christians have come to Iraq to give aid and training to the Yazidis and the Kurdish army, and they understand persecution better than most. They belong to a group called the Free Burma Rangers. David Eubank is the founder.
For the past 20 plus years, we've been in Burma in the different conflict areas, sharing the love of Jesus, giving people help, and getting the news out. And then last year, we were invited here, and this is our 4th trip where we've come back to help the Kurdish people under attack by ISIS.
The Free Burma Rangers has made a name for itself, going into conflict zones around the world and helping the world's most vulnerable people. Dave's background and military experience made him uniquely prepared for this kind of ministry.
My background, growing up as a missionary kid in Thailand, hunting since I was very small, running around the jungle, also in the Rangers, and then later in Special Forces, all that enabled me to understand, how do you function in a war zone? How can you help people? What's realistic? What's not realistic? What can you really do?
This trip, the Free Burma Rangers have been here for 6 weeks, spending time with frontline troops, conducting training and providing medical care. They've also brought over $20,000 worth of donated warm clothing for the Yazidis living on top of Mount Sinjar. But Dave doesn't do this alone. He brings his wife and 3 children because they believe these Yazidi children can more easily relate to the gospel that way.
I have faith in God that He will protect me wherever I go and wherever our family goes. ISIS is a very strong force that needs to be stopped, and there are still women and children held captive by ISIS. Sinjar just mostly looks like rubble, and buildings have been destroyed, and many have just been flattened.
We're driving through the city of Sinjar and starting to notice that there are civilians coming back in. Even just a second ago saw a shop that was open. People are kind of scavenging around through the ruins, picking up whatever they can find that's useful, and just starting the process of putting their lives back together. One of those families was fortunate that ISIS used their home as a headquarters, and so it wasn't destroyed. They've opened a bakery to sell bread to the soldiers who are guarding the city.
As the first families start to come back into the shattered city of Sinjar, the FBR team is here conducting a Good Life Club and teaching these Yazidi kids that God's love is deep and wide.
One man we met told us ISIS kidnapped his wife in 2014, and he hadn't heard from her until 3 days before this interview. She called to say she was being held in a prison in Ramadi and that ISIS was now asking for a ransom of $5,000. Before he could finish his story, his phone rang. It was his cousin, a 15-year-old boy, captured about the same time as his wife. The young man had been taken to an ISIS training camp in Syria and was pleading for help to escape. Everyone had thought he was dead. As ISIS is slowly being pushed out of Iraq, they're starting to try and ransom their captives back to their families. And despite the cost, these Yazidis are desperate to get their loved ones back.
What would you do if your wife was captured 2 years ago with your baby kids? What would you do, really? I think you would move heaven and earth to go save them. And that's what we need to do.
For the time being, Dave and his team are continuing to do what they can to shine the light of hope into a very dark place.
Hello, infantry.
From Mount Sinjar, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
The life of a ranger is a life for me.
And finally, a note of gratitude to share with you in hopes that you will make this a thankful Thursday. Join me in this prayer. Lord, I am thankful you are a deliverer. Help me to always remember that you are not only rescuing me from where I am, you are also delivering me to where I'm supposed to be. So today, I encourage you to not get stuck focusing only on where you've come from. Take inventory of where you are and be prepared for where God is taking you. And that is your Thursday Thankful. That's also going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that at CBN News on Facebook and Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make this a thankful Thursday.